They tried to silence him. They erased his name. But he rebuilt from nothing. He fought every algorithm. They tried again and failed. Now he's back, stronger. From blackout to spotlight, he's at the White House, at the top of his game. Franchi lives.
You are about to enter another dimension, the dimension of truth, unfiltered and uncensored. Welcome to the Raw Feed with Gary Franchi.
Truth ignites tonight. Power on the edge. Sovereignty has its day. The Raw Feed starts now.
Welcome to the Raw Feed. I'm Gary Franchi, coming to you live from the heart of America. Unfiltered truth to millions on YouTube. Hit those donation links below. Every contribution powers our gear. Every contribution keeps the party going. Help me help you. Hit those donation links. YouTube channel memberships. Special acknowledgement in the fellowship. Your super chats keep me standing. Your Rumble rants fuel every round.
Say hello to super chats.
Spread the intel. Every repost extends our reach.
Super chats fuel this spectacle. Your Rumble rants give me strength.
24/7 members-only community, behind-the-scenes discussions.
Connect with fellow patriots.
My mama always said, life is like sharing the truth. Text this stream to your friends.
What if I told you the app is real? Download the Next News Network app. Android users, take the Google Play path. iPhone users, App Store awaits.
Washington is burning, and nobody's putting out the fire. Good evening, Patriots. I'm Gary Franchi, and welcome to the Raw Feed, where we deliver unfiltered truth in an age of deception. Tonight, we're witnessing the convergence of events that would make the founding fathers reach for their muskets. Federal workers are standing in food banks, socialist mayors are begging for capitalist cash, and the Supreme Court is about to hand the president the economic weapons he needs to save this republic. On this day in 1917, the Bolsheviks seized power in Russia, promising bread, land, and peace to desperate people. What do they deliver? Starvation, gulags, and terror. 108 years later, on November 6th, 2025, we're witnessing history rhyme as socialist revolutionaries take power in America's largest city, while federal workers stand in bread lines during the longest government shutdown in our nation's history. The parallels are impossible to ignore. The lessons are screaming at us from the pages of history. The shutdown has reached a breaking point. Military families are wondering how they'll put turkey on the table this Thanksgiving. Air traffic controllers are working without pay for the second straight period. Transportation Secretary Duffy admits they're holding Americans hostage, while Senate Democrats suddenly discover urgency only after election night ended. Strange timing, wouldn't you say? Well, President Trump's had enough. He's ready to go nuclear on the filibuster, declaring that if we eliminated it, we'd pass so many good things, it would be hard to beat us. The establishment's terrified because they know he means it. This isn't about parliamentary procedure anymore. It's about whether elected leaders or unelected bureaucrats run this republic. And speaking of leaders, New York City just elected Zohran Mandami. And within 24 hours of his victory, this champion of freeing everything for online begging was this champion of free everything was online begging for donations. The socialist who promised to make life affordable can't even afford his own transition team. His Transition 2025 website went live faster than you can say workers' paradise, complete with donation buttons and payment processors. Even President Trump noticed, warning that communism hasn't worked for 1,000 years and doubting it will work this time. But President Trump wasn't just playing defense today. He summoned big pharma executives to the Oval Office and forced a surrender that will echo through history. Wegovy dropping from $1,350 to $250. Zepbound plunging from over $1,000 to $346. Medicare copays as low as $50. This isn't a policy win. This is a revolution in American medicine delivered by a president who refuses to let pharmaceutical giants hold sick Americans hostage. The announcement was so powerful, someone literally fainted right there in the Oval Office. That's the kind of shockwaves we're talking about here. The Supreme Court now poised to hand Trump another massive victory as justices heard arguments on his tariff authority. The questions from the bench signaled they are ready to affirm his power to wage economic warfare without waiting for Congress. Justice Barrett's pointed inquiries about regulating commerce through tariffs sent globalists into panic mode. If Trump wins this case, and it looks like he will, he'll have the constitutional authority to rebuild American manufacturing while our economic adversaries can only watch. Meanwhile, Tuesday's elections delivered what Democrats are calling a blue wave, but something doesn't add up. Machines failing in red districts, poll pads crashing, bomb threats shutting down precincts. The same suspicious patterns we've seen before happening right on cue. When margins defy historical precedent and redistricting measures pass alongside party flips, Americans have every right to demand answers. So tonight we're connecting these dots because the mainstream media won't. From shutdown politics to socialist scams, from pharmaceutical breakthroughs to constitutional victories, from election irregularities to economic warfare. These are not isolated stories. They're battle lines in the war for America's future. The establishment thought they could starve out Trump's agenda with shutdowns and filibusters. They thought they could mock his tariff strategy and protect their pharmaceutical profits. They thought they could install socialist mayors and manipulate elections without anyone noticing. Well, they thought wrong. So we're going to dive into tonight's explosive stories after we welcome you to the show. Karen Finley, Bill's Rules, Michelle Roderick, Dave Wallenberg, Jeremy Olson, Karen Finley, all in the house tonight. Great to see everybody here. Roger Thacker, NWC, James Fay, Scooby Dragon, the one and only Ron the Don, Tyson, Kim, Heather, James, Sun Bruntha, Scott Maga, John Gardner. What's up, guys? How are you doing tonight? You ready for the raw feed? I know I am. I'm excited to be here. Are you? I know, of course you are. Reality Bites in the house. Patricia. Guys, make sure when these videos drop on the channel, you are sharing them out. We've seen some unusual algorithmic suppression as of late. So help us with a share when you can. If you feel led to do so, please. And of course, share this stream right now to your friends. And we always advise using a text message to do so. That way you can send a message directly to somebody without having to go through some social platform that would perhaps suppress that content. D. Nice in the house, Kibbs Ellis, Roxanne, Prisa, Jesse, TLCM, Heather Reeve. I can barely get a notification. Yeah, that's the problem, right? That's the problem. All right, well, let's get into it. We have a goal tonight, of course, of $100 in Super Chats, as always. So help us hit that goal by tapping Super Chat, and we will be reading your Super Chats on screen. That's what we do here. That's where your voice is heard. Let's get into it, Brian. Washington's at a breaking point tonight. Federal workers are standing in food bank lines. Military families don't know how they'll afford Thanksgiving dinner. And now explosive documents reveal Democrat leaders are literally begging Trump for a meeting to end the chaos. What you're about to see exposes the raw desperation gripping the swamp as Trump prepares to deploy the nuclear option that could change the Senate forever. The establishment knows their time's up, and they're panicking. This isn't just about a budget fight anymore. This is about who really controls America's destiny. So stay with me. As we wrap up 2025, though, it's time to reflect. Uncertainty isn't temporary anymore. It's our new reality. Waiting for normal isn't a plan. It's a gamble. For over a decade, Noble Gold Investments has helped Americans protect their families by diversifying with gold and silver. Real wealth isn't digital. It's physical. It's lasting, and it's yours. Nobody knows what 2026 brings, but in uncertain times, precious metals provide stability. This holiday season, surrounded by family, remember, the best gift isn't under the tree, it's peace of mind. Noble Gold delivers that peace 1 ounce at a time. So before year's end, take one smart step towards a safer future. Visit nextnewsgold.com for your free wealth protection kit. That's nextnewsgold.com. Don't leave your future to chance. And call that number on the screen, 877-646-5347, and find out how you can get 10 1-ounce silver holiday coins with qualified accounts. So this is the letter that was sent by Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer to President Trump. We write to demand a bipartisan meeting of legislative leaders to demand, right? They're demanding. We write to demand a bipartisan meeting of legislative leaders to end the GOP shutdown. Of course, they call it the GOP shutdown of the federal government and decisively address the Republican health care crisis. Democrats stand ready to meet with you face to face, anytime, any place. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And of course, that's how President Trump always signs off on his social posts as of late. But look at the language here. I mean, the GOP shutdown, Republican healthcare crisis, demand a meeting, right? Yeah, seems real friendly there. But we got this from Delta Airlines. This is a couple hours ago. Delta Airlines tells Pete Muntean it will preemptively cancel 170 flights on Friday as part of the government directive to scale back flights. The carrier says mainly regional flights will be canceled. 2 hours ago, this is from Rapid Response 47. United also canceling hundreds of flights originally scheduled for tomorrow due to the Democrat shutdown. This could have been avoided if Democrats simply did their jobs. Instead, they chose chaos. And here's the notice that's being sent out to United passengers. Your flight is canceled due to an FAA-mandated airspace restrictions. Due to FAA-mandated airspace restrictions during the government shutdown, your safety is our priority, and we know the change of plan is inconvenient. We're working hard to get you to your destination as soon as possible. Hundreds of flights on United, Delta as well. Where were those families going? President Trump had this to say in an interview with Bret Baier, that the Democrats have become radicalized lunatics.
As soon as they do. Is there a deal that can be made to end this government shutdown in your mind?
Well, I think the Democrats have become radicalized. I think, this never happened before. They always extend. An extension is very easy. it's done all the time. You extend, sometimes you extend 4 or 5 times. I mean, they become radicalized lunatics, actually, in a true sense. They should automatically extend, and we will make a deal as soon as they do. As soon as they do, we'll make a deal.
We'll make a deal.
A deal that can be made?
We will make a deal. Well, we're learning that that deal revolves around the demand. Let's see, where's the message we have? Yeah, Bernie Sanders. Democrats will not support any bill unless there's a commitment from Mike Johnson and Donald Trump to sign a bill to extend the ACA tax credits. Is that it? That's what's holding this up? They demand that Johnson and Trump sign a bill to extend the ACA tax credits. So when do you sign it? You sign it after the government's reopened? Are you asking them to pledge to sign it and then government reopens, then they have the bill, and then how does this work, Bernie?
What? Where does it go? There is some discussion about bipartisan negotiations. And I want to be very clear. If these negotiations say that we're going to pass legislation that will extend the credits, tax credits for the Affordable Care Act, count me in, that's great. But there has to be a commitment that the Speaker of the House is on board. There has to be a commitment that the President of the United States is prepared to sign the bill. Bottom line is we need to be successful in protecting the health care of the American people. And if it's just a piece of legislation that passes the Senate with either 50 votes or 60 votes, so what? Where does it go? Then it becomes just a meaningless gesture. You can go home, well, I voted for a piece. That's good. But
okay, so how about this? Okay, yeah, we'll sign it. We'll sign the bill. Let's see the bill. Oh, guess what? We changed our mind. How about that? Is that good enough for you? Just say, well, we'll sign it. I mean, politicians change their mind all the time, right? Trump, American revivalist, Trump should write a letter of acceptance back as long as they all wear sombreros to the meeting. That's too funny. When military members are hurting, Kayleigh McEnany, former White House press secretary under the first Trump administration, had this to say.
Military members are hurting. Let me make this really simple. No one's winning, not Republicans, not Democrats, when military members cannot pay their bills, when air traffic controllers are calling out because they get zeros on their paycheck, when our safety is at issue in the skies. No one is winning. We are all losing. And why? Because Democrats, they got a chance to vote to pay the military. Fine, you don't want to open up the government? How about pay the military essential workers? Guess how many Democrats voted to do that? 3. John Fetterman, Raphael Warnock, and John Ossoff. 3 Democrats voted to pay the military. Now John Kennedy says, let's vote to remove our pay until military members get paid. Can't wait to see how many Democrats vote on that. Let me propose a very simple.
Yeah, that's what John Kennedy did say. We have his remarks here. Let's get to that. Removing the pay. We did have his remarks here. Yeah, here it is. Kennedy said he's bringing 2 shutdown-related bills to withhold congressional paychecks.
Down Paychecks Act. President, I'm going to be uncharacteristically brief. Tomorrow I will be bringing 2 bills before the Senate. They both have to do with the shutdown and congressional pay. The first bill is the No Shutdown Paychecks Act. The second bill is the Withhold Member Pay During Shutdowns Act. The first bill would provide that as long as we're shut down, and I'll explain why in a moment, as long as we're shut down, no member of Congress can be paid. And the money will not be reimbursed at a later date or repaid at a later date. The second bill, to address any 27th Amendment concerns, will say during the shutdown, members of Congress will not receive their pay, but their pay will be escrowed and they will receive it after the government is opened back up.
Interesting. So he's got 2 options. 1, no pay, ever, or no pay and we'll pay you later. It'll be interesting to see how those bills fare. I don't see them getting very far.
Look, We're in day 36. Like you, Mr. President, I've heard a lot of rumors about we're that close to reaching an agreement. We've been that close for a week. Frankly, I hope I'm wrong in saying this, but I don't think we're really that close. I wish we were, and I hope we are. But I think we're
going to be seeing many more days of this shutdown. Here's President Trump more on his interview with Bret Baier, talking about getting rid of the filibuster, the nuclear option, as it's called.
Never win this. A few more things. You said Republicans should get rid of the filibuster. Yeah. Based on what you said this morning, you don't really think the Democrats could never win the Senate again, right?
No, I think that if we got rid of the filibuster, we would approve so many good things, common sense things, wonderful things, that it would be hard to beat us. If we don't, it's always going to be a slog. So I do say this. I would say absolutely, without question, I have no doubt in my mind, get rid of it. And the Republicans should do it. But they have a number of Republicans that don't agree. And you know what? It's a question. Do I want to lose my relationship with those Republicans that have been very good to me for a long period of time, that voted against the crooked Democrats on impeachment and everything else? Do I want to lose them over it? I think it's a very important point. Do you ever have people that are wrong, but you can't convince them? So do you destroy your whole relationship with them or not? I'd be close to losing it, but probably not.
A few more things. You said
the filibuster, the nuclear option, Trump pushing for it, Democrats and Republicans pushing back. Speaker Johnson, 11 hours ago, at what point do Democrats finally do the right thing? Talking with Sean Hannity. Air traffic controllers, SNAP benefits, our military, all being hurt by the shutdown. It's clear to everyone that Democrats care more about their political careers than the people they claim to represent. Here he is.
They care about the people. Between air traffic controllers, SNAP benefits, our military, at what point is there a breaking point and some people in that party wake up and understand this is damaging and hurting a lot of Americans all across the board?
Yeah, exactly. They care more about their own political careers than they care about the people that they claim to represent. And that's why you're seeing these broad demographic shifts into the Republican Party. People are tired of this. You know, the Democrats funded a study that just came out a couple weeks ago, and their own study identified the Democrat Party is said to be thought of as weak and woke and out of touch. And they're proving that every day. They just simply don't care about the people anymore.
You know, 42 million Americans are without SNAP benefits, and of course their dependents won't be fed. Gunter Eagleman posts this 6 hours ago. Democrats are about to bend the knee to President Trump that would end the Schumer shutdown. Democrats are weighing a deal. There's nothing else that should be attached to the 24-page CR. Pass it as is. Stop harming the American people.
Or early now. There's a lot of movement right now, Dana, behind the scenes to try to reopen the government. There was a historically long government shutdown, 37 days, the longest ever in history, and the consequences piling up by the day for the American people, which means that the pressure really is on at this key moment. Democrats are weighing a deal that would reopen the government either until the end of this year or early next year, tied to a larger funding package for several agencies. But one of the key questions remains about whether Democrats will accept a vote to extend expiring Obamacare subsidies. Remember, that was at the heart of this dispute to begin with. They had said that those expiring subsidies must be dealt with as part of this negotiation, as part of this funding bill, because people will see their premiums increase, and it must be dealt with now. But what Republicans are offering is a separate vote not tied to the funding bill. The question is going to be if enough Democrats say, okay, fine, we have to vote to reopen the government, and we'll vote on this later, even though there's no commitment that separate health care vote could ultimately become law. I put that question to one of the key Democratic negotiators, Jeanne Shaheen of New Hampshire. I asked her about the Democratic concern from many of her colleagues about putting this to a separate vote and the potential that could never become law.
Mm-hmm.
If that can't pass, the ACA vote, then
it's like I just said. Yeah, sure, we'll sign it. Let's see the bill. Oh, we don't like the bill. We're not going to sign it.
Well, it's not clear that it can't pass. There are a lot of Republicans who I've been talking to who think we need to address the issue.
But the Speaker's not committed to put it on the floor.
Well, I can't speak for the Speaker. If he doesn't understand that people can't afford their health insurance rates, then he's got a problem.
I'm not promising anybody anything. I'm going to let this process play out.
I'm not promising anybody anything. Here is Mike Johnson 24 hours ago talking about a tragedy in California.
To what a state like Texas. I'll make a comment about the tragedy in California last night. What California did is very, very different, as you all know, by comparison to what a state like Texas did. Texas was following the federal and state constitution, following their state law and redistricting. California was not. They had to trample over their own state law, over their own independent redistricting commission that they had all put into place. It was a desperation, a sign of desperation on the Democrat Party. It was a game to try to rig the election, as if you could gerrymander California anymore. They managed to do it.
There's a special place in hell, says Representative Jim McGovern. Special place in hell for people who rip food away from hungry children. Representative Jim McGovern, a Democrat. Who's ripping food from who, buddy? All you guys need are 6 votes.
40 million. Republicans are choosing to go after nutrition assistance. Trump is doing this because he is a bad person. He's a lousy president and an even worse human being. He's weaponizing hunger and trying to rip food away from more than 40 million Americans, including 16 million children, for sadistic political leverage. How dare he? How dare he exploit the pain of hungry Americans? How dare he make working folks choose between health care and food? How dare he start?
Oh, how dare you throw lies around like that? All you need are, 5, 6 votes, and you got this thing passed. You get the money starts to flow again. Who's holding those people hostage? Senate Majority Leader Thune on the Senate floor.
What more needs to happen for the far left to be satisfied? The pain this shutdown has caused is only getting worse. 40 million Americans who rely on food assistance programs are now at risk of going hungry without a resolution to the shutdown. I'm sure these Americans are doing everything in their power to feed their families, but they can't do that forever. Federal workers have now gone without pay for more than a month, including the people in this building. Will the far left not be satisfied until federal workers and military families are getting their Thanksgiving dinner from a food bank? Because that's where we're headed.
Or short of planes falling from the sky, right? Yeah, that was revealed earlier this week. U.S. Trade Representative Ambassador Greer on the shutdown. Anytime you have to curtail transportation, it's going to have an impact.
The great advantage. What is your expectation of the impact on this from this shutdown on the economy?
Well, I mean, listen, anytime you're having to curtail transportation, which is one of the great advantages we have in the United States, we have this vast internal market, we have great transportation systems and networks and hubs, but when that's hobbled because the Democrats won't open the government, obviously that's going to have an economic impact just on economic activity. I mean, it's just crazy to me. So I'm hoping that we can move forward, that the rational Democrats can, join their few colleagues that have voted for it, and then we can get this government reopened and get the country humming.
If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. You see, the shutdown isn't about money. It's about power. Democrats held America hostage for weeks, watching federal workers suffer while they played politics. Now they're begging for mercy because Trump has called their bluff. He's ready to end the filibuster and unleash an agenda that terrifies the establishment. They know once that gate opens, there's no going back. The swamp's favorite weapon, endless obstruction, dies forever. So here's my question for the comments. Should Trump pull the trigger and get them to end the filibuster once and for all? Yes or no? Drop your answer in the comments. This is the moment that defines whether we're a republic run by the people or a bureaucracy run by career politicians? The choice is binary and the consequences are permanent. If you want to show where you stand, check out our merch shop. It's linked in the description. Real patriots wear their principles. All right, Ruby Hoove in the house. We got the $5 coming in from James Fay. Thank you, James. Getting us started with our first super chat of the night. Who will be the second? I don't know yet, but Ruby Hoove came in and gifted 5 Next News Network memberships. Raven, Walter, Less is More, Soaps, Ron Ferret, Tammy Huff, all becoming members today. We thank you for your support. Welcome to the family. Okay, we got to move into our next topic of the evening. Some big stuff happened in the Oval Office today. And where is there's the clip. I thought it was going to be at the top. Where is it? Here it is. Yes, it is. Okay. Someone just fainted in the Oval Office today, right in the middle of President Trump's announcement about Wegovy and Zepbound, the miracle weight loss drugs that help people drop pounds while fighting diabetes and heart disease. These GLP-1 medications have transformed millions of lives, but at $1,300 a month, they've bankrupted just as many. Until today. What happened in that room sent shockwaves through Big Pharma's profit machine. The giants thought they could keep Americans choosing between life-saving medicine and paying rent. They thought wrong. Trump just forced a surrender so total and so devastating to their greed that witnesses literally collapsed. Keep on watching. And speaking of transforming your health, weight loss drugs aren't the only breakthrough helping Americans look and feel younger. In a recent clinical trial, women who took 2.5 grams of collagen peptides daily for 8 weeks saw dramatic improvements, 25% reduction in eye wrinkles, 9% better skin elasticity, and 29% more hydration. Just like Trump is fighting to make medications affordable, BioTrust is making premium collagen accessible. Their Ageless Multi-Collagen delivers 5 types of collagen that reduce wrinkles and strengthen joints. Right now, get 51% off at healthwithgary.com, plus free VIP coaching, a skin health ebook, and free shipping. While Trump battles Big Pharma's pricing, you can fight aging naturally. Visit healthwithgary.com for this limited time deal. It's linked below. So here's the moment everyone's talking about today. Someone fainting in the Oval Office.
Creating high-value jobs. But today, you okay? Gordon, you okay? Yeah.
We're going to break away for just a moment as the White House addresses what appears to be a health emergency in the Oval Office. Our prayers go out to that man, and we will certainly keep you updated and head back to the White House when the time is appropriate.
Creating high-value.
So the individual who collapsed here, Gordon Finley, who is a pharma bro, suddenly falling out in the Oval Office today. Yeah. The stress probably just got too much for him. We're going to find out more about this and some of the controversy surrounding those drugs. But here is where President Trump was joined by Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk in the big announcement in the Oval.
Already Pfizer, AstraZeneca, and EMD, Serrano, have agreed to drastically lower their prices for American patients. And today, Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk are joining the phenomenal list of the most exciting announcements. I mean, nobody's ever had announcements like that. And this has to do with other pharmaceutical products also. But we're covering this today because it's such a big seller. I guess it's the number one selling thing there is today. These are two companies that are behind the groundbreaking weight loss drugs that have helped millions of Americans struggling with obesity live better, longer lives, everything else. These are the two companies that really broke ground. Until now, neither of these two popular drugs have been covered by Medicare for weight loss, and they've only rarely been covered by Medicaid. They've often cost consumers more than $1,000 per month, and some a lot more than that. Americans have been spending as much as 520% more for Zepbound and 1,400% more for Wegovy than patients in Europe. Think of that. 1,400% more than a patient in Europe for the exact same box. Already
absolutely ridiculous. The pricing that they have on those here domestically. Gordon Finlay, though, is alive and well. Reports of his collapse in the Oval Office were mistaken. Novo Nordisk confirmed he wasn't there. The individual who fainted was mistaken, misidentified initially. No fatalities occurred. So it wasn't Gordon Finlay as originally believed. CVS got sued for removing Zepbound. Eli Lilly's GLP-1 drug tirzepatide, marketed as Zepbound for obesity, is now the world's best-selling medicine. Effects of this drug will be cataclysmic to healthcare as diabetes and obesity decline after decades of relentless growth. Brian Bueller writes, the GLP-1 like Wegovy and Zepbound work, but high doses can lead to serious side effects, muscle loss, bone density issues, even gastroparesis and blindness. Why the high dose? Insurance plus pharma pushed them for max reimbursement.
When you dig a little, today I want to cover the GLP-1 topic. A popular weight loss drug like Wegovy, Zepbound, these compounds have been phenomenal to help patients manage their insulin and get off those unwanted pounds. However, what we've seen is muscle wasting, loss of bone mineral density, and cataclysmic side effects like gastroparesis and even blindness. But when you dig a little deeper, these side...
Now, I know some people who've taken it, and they've had remarkable results. Like, okay, look at this person here. 5 hours ago, Tara Bull writes, Trump unveils landmark deal with Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk to slash Wegovy Zepbound. I'm not sure if this is a before and after of herself, but you can see the results are severe and dramatic from May of 23 to April of 24. Now, you don't need these drugs to lose that weight. You need exercise. You need a clean diet. I mean, you probably saw me a couple of years ago. I was at my lowest weight ever. I think about 215 pounds. After we got demonetized, stress and having to cut back staff really screwed up my schedule and my ability to stay on track with some of those things. So I gained a lot of that weight back. But I mean, I'm living proof that you don't need these drugs. But some people have to take them. Massive news. Trump announced his DTC consumer prices at $250 and $2 for Wegovy, $376 for Zepbound, plus Medicare and Medicaid coverage. We just heard him say that. Trump administration negotiating an agreement today to offer some of their weight loss drugs at a lower price through Trump RX.
Trump RX. And costs for some popular weight loss drugs could drop soon. The Trump administration is reportedly negotiating an agreement with pharmaceutical companies to offer the drugs at a lower price through Trump RX. An announcement is expected as soon as this week. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze is at the White House with the latest. Hi, Elizabeth. How's this going to work?
Hey, Diane, sources tell us this deal could lower the cost of some popular weight loss drugs like Zepbound and Wegovy. Under this pending agreement between the Trump administration and the makers of those drugs, their price could be cut to roughly $149 a month, and the cost could be covered by Medicare for some people. Right now, they're about $4.99 a month without insurance. The drug makers Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk didn't confirm details. The White House says no deals have been officially announced, and until they are, this is speculation.
Well, no longer speculation, as President Trump made it official today. We have some more remarks from the Oval Office. Let's see. Eli Lilly spent $27 billion.
United States. Eli Lilly spent $27 billion. Novo is spending $10 billion in the United States. So they're building new plants and equipment. That's part of what will be $20 or $21 trillion this year. There's never been anything like it. I know nobody talks about it, but there's never been anything like, I would say, you would say, there's never been anything like this ever, whether it's China or Europe, or you could take all of Europe, there's never been anything like this.
Those companies that are cutting back prices are, in fact, now reinvesting in America at the same time. Here is Secretary RFK Jr.
It is going to have everybody will be able to get this drug, and it's going to change. We will lose, the American public, because of this agreement, will lose 125 million pounds by this time next year. Well, it is going to have dramatic effects on human health in this country. Everybody.
100, what?
We'll lose 125 million pounds by this time next year.
125 million pounds the American public will lose by this time next year because of these new prices. That is wild when you think about it. Let's keep going. I think we got some more. Medicare, Medicaid will finally cover the cost.
Lost drugs. Just as significantly, Medicare and Medicaid will finally cover the cost of these weight loss drugs for millions of patients suffering from obesity. Copays for Medicare patients will be as low as $50. This is tremendous savings. I mean, now you're talking about from $1,350 to $50. This is tremendous news for the American seniors. And you all remember when I had 1/8 of 1% for the year. I cut it 1/8, and I was so thrilled. But now we're cutting it 1,000%, 1,200%. Nobody's ever seen anything like this. Nobody else could have done it, but I say that modestly. Just as significantly, Medicare and...
If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So Trump isn't negotiating with Big Pharma. He is conquering them. Wegovy from $1,350 to $250. Zepbound from over $1,000 to $346. Medicare copays down to $50. These aren't just numbers. These are families who can afford groceries again. Diabetics who won't skip doses. Seniors choosing medicine and food. Secretary Kennedy says Americans will lose 125 million pounds of fat by next year. That's not weight loss. That's a health revolution delivered by presidential power. But remember, these powerful medications, they require medical supervision. So work with your doctor. So here's my question for you. Do you trust Big Pharma in their sudden generosity, or is this Trump forcing their hand? Drop your answer below. This deal proves one thing. When you have a president who fights for the people instead of the lobbyists, miracles happen. If you want to support real journalism, hit our merch shop. It's linked in the description. All right, Ruby Hoove coming in hot with $2 bill. I know a lady that uses Ozempic. Costs were nuts. Oh, believe me, I've looked into it. I have looked into it myself, and I'm like, I'm just not going to pay for that. That's just too much. Trump is the boss. Trump forcing their hand. No, I don't trust them. Every weight loss drug I ever remembered had a lawsuit that follows. You know, you're right, James. How many times have you seen that? Absolutely. All right, we're going to move along into what's going on in New York City. New York City. We got to come up with a new name. We got to come up with a new name for New York. Because, is this the video here? I think, let's see, for thousands of years, ton to vote. Okay, I think this is the video. Just want to double check. I'm quite sure this is the one where he's like telling people to go pay for, to give him money now. Let's see, where is it? Where was it? I just had it. Ah, here it is. I think this is it. Oh no.
Good morning, New York City, and thank you. Last night we made history, and today we begin. As we prepare to govern, we'll start announcing the leaders who will help commissioners who carry out the fight to improve our city. Govern, period, like the of this city. Oh, and one more thing. Remember how I told you a few months ago to stop sending us money? You could deserve a government they can...
Yeah. Right on. Okay, Ruby Who, back. It exists. Gotham. That's funny. Nice. $2. Appreciate it. All right. Just want to get my video queued up for you guys. It took less than 24 hours for the New York City's new communist mayor, to expose himself as a complete fraud. Zohran Mamdani, the man who promised free health care, free housing, and free everything, just did something so hypocritical, so brazen, that even hardened political observers can't believe it. Within hours of claiming victory, the self-proclaimed revolutionary for the working class revealed his true nature. The same politician who says capitalism is evil and violence is just a construct is now doing exactly what every communist does when they get power. What you're about to see will make you understand why President Trump says communism hasn't worked for 1,000 years, so don't look away. And as we wrap up 2025, it's time to reflect. Uncertainty isn't temporary anymore. It's our new reality. And waiting for normal isn't a plan, it's a gamble. For over a decade, Noble Gold Investments has helped Americans protect their families by diversifying with gold and silver. Real wealth isn't digital, it's physical, lasting, and it's yours. No one knows what 2026 will bring, but in uncertain times, precious metals provide stability. This holiday season, when you're surrounded by family, remember, the best gift isn't under the tree, it's peace of mind. Noble Gold delivers that peace 1 ounce at a time. So before year's end, take one smart step towards a safer future. Visit nextnewsgold.com for your free wealth protection kit. That's nextnewsgold.com. Don't leave your future to chance, and call that number on the screen, 877-646-5347, to find out how you can get 10 1-ounce silver holiday coins with qualified accounts. Certainly would be beautiful stocking stuffers, and we thank Noble Gold for their support. So Zohran Mamdani, right out the gate, already begging for money. He's got the plugins on his website. Donate. Use that capitalist cash.
This will be a period, like the campaign we ran and the city hall to come, defined by transparency. Because New Yorkers deserve a government they can trust. On January 1st, I will be your mayor. New Year's Day and a new era for this city. Oh, and one more thing. Remember how I told you a few months ago to stop sending us money? You can start again. This transition requires staff, research, and an infrastructure that can meet this moment. And it will be made possible by the people who built and believe in this movement. So I hope you'll make a donation at transition2025.com. Now let's get to work.
Make a donation at transition2025.com. Support communism with your capitalist cash. Never forget what happened on 2001. In 2025, we forgot. Oh, and of course, how can you overlook this beautiful photograph? Mamdani with Alex Soros. Lynn Wood posting this 36 minutes ago. So proud to be a New Yorker. The American dream continues. That's what Alex Soros writes. Congratulations. I wonder how much money he is putting up for that campaign. 24 hours ago, Brett Baer points out that at one point, Zohran Mamdani says, turn the volume up. How do you respond to that? Talking with President Trump.
At one point, he says, turn the volume up.
So hear me, President Trump, when I say this. To get to any of us, you will have to get through all of us.
How do you respond to that? Does that affect anything you're going to do?
It's a very dangerous statement for him to make, actually. And, you know, you talk about danger. I think it's a very dangerous statement for him to make. He has to be a little bit respectful of Washington, because if he's not, he doesn't have a chance of succeeding. And I want to make him succeed. I want to make the city succeed. I don't want to make him succeed. I want to make the city succeed, and we'll see what happens.
Did you see reaching out to him?
I would say he should reach out to us, really. I think he should reach out. Right. I'm here. We'll see what happens, but I would think that it would be more appropriate for him to reach out to us.
So at one point he says...
President Trump says his phone line is open, but he's not going to pick up the phone to call him. Melanie Phillips from the British Cradle of Democracy in Westminster, her reaction to the election of Zohran Mandami.
That Britain, I'm standing inside the Houses of Parliament, the cradle of British democracy, in London, the city whose radical Muslim mayor, many Americans have told me over the years, is proof positive that Britain has now fallen to Islamization. Well, what's that saying about people in glass houses? Yesterday, New York elected as its mayor a radical Muslim, Zohran Mandami, a man who works for the destruction of Israel, a man who refused to condemn the chants of globalize the Intifada, a call for the murder of Jews throughout the world, a man who is backed by the Muslim Brotherhood, whose agenda is to conquer the West for Islam, and whose strategy is to infiltrate the democratic institutions of America and the West in order to fulfill that agenda.
Wow, that's a lovely message from across the pond, isn't it? London has fallen. New York has fallen. I'm surprised she's even able to say that in the United Kingdom. Aren't they just bashing down people's doors just for Facebook posts? Well, who knows when that door will start knocking at her house. Muslims are ripping down flags in New York City. Wall Street Apes writes this 10 hours ago. New York, a conquered city. That's what happens. The enemies are at the gate, and they crash right through it. They take down your flag. And that's what's happening. Here we have Representative Carlos Jimenez. He points out he is the only member of Congress who was born in Cuba. His family was forced from their home after the communist takeover, and he recognizes extremists when he sees them. Here he is speaking in the Capitol today.
They call themselves, I'm the only Cuban-born member of Congress. That means I was born in Cuba. I was not born here in the United States. I didn't speak a word of English until I got here. I was 7 years old. And the reason I'm here is that my parents brought me here seeking freedom. Freedom from communism, freedom from a Marxist regime. And so I can tell you that I know a communist and a Marxist when I see one. They may call themselves socialists, they may call themselves a democratic socialist, but make no mistake, Mandami in New York, he's a Marxist. And the thing that bothers me is he's very proud to say, well, I'm young, I'm this, I'm that, I'm Muslim. I understand you can be proud of that. But then, if you're so proud, don't call yourself a democratic socialist. You are a Marxist. Go ahead. Tell people exactly who you are. He couldn't, and he can't because he knew he wouldn't get elected. But I hope that the people of New York do not suffer the same consequences that my homeland of Cuba has suffered. Castro and the Castro regime destroyed my homeland. They can't even keep the lights on. They don't have food, they don't have medicine, they can't keep the lights on. It's a total disaster of an island, a beautiful island that actually had the second highest standard of living in the Western Hemisphere when the regime took over. And so one of the reasons I'm in Congress, the primary reason I'm in Congress, is that I want to make sure that my children and grandchildren never suffer the same fate that my parents did, having to leave their country and bring us to a new country with about $10 in their pocket.
Well, it looks like you have a noble cause there, sir. But New York has fallen. So many stories like this, people who fled communist regimes coming to America, wondering why anybody would vote for communism. Well, it turns out that when you stand on your soapbox in an election and you just say, free everything for everybody, those that are most desperate will turn out in hopes that they will get those free things. But I always ask myself, how will they pay for it? Who will pay for it? New York is already suffering from the mass migration, the illegal immigration of all the people coming from the border during the Biden administration and settling in New York. Remember all the hotels they had to convert, put cruise ships off in the harbor so that they could house these people? Yeah, so they were already having financial difficulties. It's only going to get worse. End Wokeness writes, I feel like I'm living in an alternate reality. New York City Mayor Mamdani on why he will empty the prisons because violence is an artificial construct. He's going to empty the prisons.
It's happening. Oftentimes, we've even found as legislators, when we go into these courts, the term violent crime is even used when people are stealing packages. Violent crime is even used when people are accused of burglary and there happens to be a housing unit in that same dwelling. So violence is an artificial construction. And we have to be very clear that what is happening here with these district attorneys, that is violence. That is violence of the highest degree.
Yeah, that's one hell of a stump speech, buddy. Empty the prisons. Violence is a construct. Yeah, ask the victims how they feel about that. President Trump on Zohran Mamdani.
Love New York. You know, I'm so torn because I would like to see the new mayor do well because I love New York. I really love New York. When I left New York for Washington, New York was doing really well, but there were some bad signs. The bad sign was a guy named de Blasio. So the signs of de Blasio, that was the beginning, and it was bad. This one, we're going to, look, for 1,000 years, communism has not worked. Communism or the concept of communism has not worked. I tend to doubt it's going to work this time.
Did you see his victory speech?
It's literally never worked. Yeah, I thought it was a very angry speech. Certainly angry toward me, and I think he should be very nice to me. You know, I'm the one that sort of has to approve a lot of things coming to him, so he's off to a bad start. You know,
off to a bad start. Better be nice to President Trump. Cam Higbee, I ran into a flock of Mamdani campaigners telling people to vote for Zohran. They couldn't even tell me why they support him.
That. What do you think Zohran's best policy is?
I think affordable housing, smaller classrooms, free buses, lower rents, freezing the rents for rent-stabilized buildings.
That sounds great. How do you achieve that?
I think that he has really high hopes, and I think that he has a lot of energy.
He's going to achieve it through hope, or?
I think he's going to achieve it by really having a smart way of dealing with people and picking the proper people to work with him.
And what is that smart way of dealing with it?
I think that he has a good sense of people around him. I think he makes good choices, and I think he works well with other people.
Where does the money come from?
He will figure it out. Like, I think that
he hasn't yet.
I think nobody knows where they're going to do it first. I think they work it out as they go along. They don't have a plan. It's like
I agree. There's no plan.
It's a process.
I certainly agree there's no plan, that's for sure. Question, what is Mamdani's best policy?
Childcare for all.
What's he going to do for childcare?
He's going to make it available for everyone.
How's he going to do that?
He has a plan in terms of taxing and saving money, and I think will help everyone.
What is the plan, though?
What is the plan?
Yeah. You're out here campaigning for him, right? What's the plan?
You mean how is he going to fund that? There will be childcare for.
But how do you achieve that?
Well, we've achieved it for pre-K for 3s, and you just expand it so that it's.
How do you expand it?
Well, you use the schools, you use existing facilities, and you use existing tax base and money that's being wasted on consultants to pay for it.
I still don't understand, like, where does the money come from?
Well, he's explained that over and over. So there's going to be there's wasted money, and
where can I find where he's
Go to the website. Go to the website.
Why do I vote for Mamdani?
Go to the website. Just go to the website. I don't have answers. Just look at his website. JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon on the communist takeover.
Going to flee. But all that's important because JP Morgan Chase just built a $3 billion skyscraper in New York City. When you talk about whether big business is going to flee and people that work for big business is going to flee, or whether they're going to stay put, that is really the case, and that's the case in point right there. So I asked him about whether any of JP Morgan's 24,000 employees are going to actually up and leave New York City because of Zohran Mamdani being the mayor-elect, and here is part of what he said.
So, first of all, people have left New York City. You've seen hedge funds and certain banks and Ken Griffin, and I think it's a bad idea. I mean, you want to have a very competitive city, and I don't want to use labels. The important thing to me is policies that actually work. Do you make crime better? Do you make the schools better? Do you make the health system better? I want to lift up all citizens, too. I've seen a lot of mayors and governors say things like that, and they fail to do it because their policies may not be so bad, but the implementation stinks. So it is, to me, is get this stuff right. Learn. He's a young man. Will he get good at it? I see a lot of people in big jobs, including political jobs, they grow into it. They're learning, they're trusting people, they're figuring it out, they'll make mistakes, they adjust. I've seen a lot of people, they kind of swell into the job. They get worse. It all becomes about them or something like that. Ego. I'm hoping he's the good one. And
we'll wait and see about that, right? I mean, making all those promises, all those New Yorkers, all the free stuff. Oh, wait a minute. I have to implement policy. I have to find the money. Oh, I can't get this done. Yeah, a lot of angry New Yorkers coming soon. If you got value for this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is socialism's dirty secret laid bare. Mamdani, he spent months promising to tear down capitalism and redistribute wealth. His first act as mayor-elect, create a slick donation website begging for capitalist cash. His website went live before he even thanked the voters. The man who wants empty prisons and banning private health insurance and globalize the intifada can't even fund his transition without your credit card. Even JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon is hoping that he'll be the good one. That's how low the bar is. Representative Carlos Jimenez, who fled communist Cuba, recognizes the pattern immediately. This is how it always starts. Revolutionaries promising equality while stuffing their own pockets. So here's the question for the comments section. Will New Yorkers wake up to this scam before it's too late? Yes or no? The answer determines whether America's biggest city becomes America's biggest cautionary tale. You can support truth by checking out our merch shop. You'll find a link below. Oh, the fall of New York. Escape from New York. That's the new movie, right? Get me Snake Plissken. Speaking of elections, we have to talk about what just happened in these elections. No new super chats to speak of at the moment. We're at $9. Wow, we got a long way to go, guys. Come on. Let's hit our goal tonight, guys. I know we can do it. Don't let me down. Something is not adding up about Tuesday's elections. Democrats swept races from coast to coast in what they're calling a blue wave, but the numbers tell a different story. Machines mysteriously failing in Republican districts, poll pads crashing at the worst possible moments, bomb threats shutting down voting in key precincts. The timing was too perfect, the pattern too familiar. Now Americans are demanding answers about results that defy every historical trend and polling prediction. What you're about to hear is not conspiracy theory. It's documented irregularities that follow the same playbook that we've all seen before. The evidence is mounting, and the questions are getting louder. And I'm going to show you what really happened. Just like spotting irregularities in elections, your skin shows signs when something's not right. Fine lines, wrinkles, lost elasticity. While we investigate what happened Tuesday, you can take control of your health today. Clinical trials prove that 2.5 grams of collagen peptides daily deliver remarkable results. 25% reduction in eye wrinkles, 9% improvement in elasticity, 29% boost in hydration. BioTrust Ageless Multi-Collagen provides 5 types of premium collagen to restore your skin's youthful appearance while strengthening joints and bones. Unlike suspicious election results, these results are verified and transparent. Get 51% off at healthwithgary.com right now, plus free VIP coaching, a skin health guide, and free shipping. Visit healthwithgary.com today because real results don't need explaining. So this just in, conservatives are now pointing to inconsistencies in New Jersey's gubernatorial race after nearly 500,000 new voters appeared from 2021 to 2025, more than double the state's population growth over 4 years, with almost all of them going to Democrats. We have seen this before, haven't we? 500,000 new voters appearing, more than double the state's population over 4 years. Almost all of them Democrats. What are the chances of that, huh? Popular vote. These are some of the election results. Very curious, isn't it? What do we have here? Wall Street apes posting this. Zohran Mandami, native-born, 31% vote, foreign-born, 62. Andrew Cuomo getting 40% of the native-born, foreign-born, 24%. Curtis Sliwa, 25% of the native-born, and foreign-born, 12%. So democracy is just who can import the most voters, right? You see how it works? Just import the votes. President Trump making an excellent case to combat election fraud by ending the filibuster.
Bad shit. It's time for Republicans to do what they have to do, and that's terminate the filibuster. It's the only way you can do it. And if you don't terminate the filibuster, you'll be in bad shape. We won't pass any legislation. There'll be no legislation passed for 3.25. We have 3.25 years, so that's a long time. But when they can't do an extension, and John, I think they've done an extension every single time they've ever been asked forever. This is the first time they haven't done an extension. Extensions are supposed to be easy, but if they won't do an extension, they won't do any bill, even a simple bill. And we should do our own bills. We should get out. We should do our own bills. We should open up. We should start tonight with the country's open. Congratulations. Then we should pass voter ID. We should pass no mail-in voting. We should pass all the things that we want to pass, make our elections secure and safe, because California is a disaster. Many of the states are disasters. But can you imagine when they vote almost unanimously against voter ID? All we want is voter ID. You go to a grocery store, you have to give ID. You go to a gas station, you give ID. But for voting, they want no voter ID. That's only for one reason, because they cheat. We would pass that in 15 minutes. If you don't get it, you'll never pass that. You'll never talk about mail-in ballots. Mail-in ballots make it automatically corrupt. If you have mail-in ballots, automatically it's correct. Even Jimmy Carter, they had the Carter Commission after he got out of office, and he had a group of very distinguished people, Democrats and Republicans, and they passed, they recommended things take place. It was a long time ago. And they said about mail-in ballots, if there is mail-in ballots, there will definitely be corruption because, they pass through too many hands. I mean, you go in to vote and they want you cut. It's time for...
It's 2025 and we're still dealing with election fraud. Michael Byrne, election fraud alert. 48 hours ago, voter misdirection and suppression by the New Jersey Democrat State Committee. Don't believe Democrat text messages. Check your polling place on the State Division of Elections.
Editorial board. Hey everybody, Mike Byrne here, chairman of the Montclair Republican County Committee, co-chairman of the America First Republicans of New Jersey, coming to you from Montclair, the People's Republic of Montclair. It's the home of Mikey Sherrill and other left-wing luminaries like Stephen Colbert and the New York Times editorial board and all kinds of people that want to ruin our state and ruin our country. I'm here at the Charles Bullock Elementary School. And I'm here because in the last 24 hours, I've received several text messages from the New Jersey State Democrat Party telling me to come here today and vote for Mikey Sherrill. Now, obviously, I'm not voting for Mikey Sherrill no matter where I go to vote. The problem is that they told me to come here. This is not my polling place. And obviously this was a blast text message out to God knows how many people. And that's the question. How many people is the New Jersey State Democrat Party misdirecting to the wrong polling places? And are they only misdirecting Republicans? Is that what's going on here? Are they trying to suppress Republican turnout by sending Republicans like me to the wrong polling place? Now, when I went inside, I was told that I could vote provisionally. But the problem with the provisional ballot is that it may not count. You have to vote in your proper polling place in order to ensure your vote will definitely be counted. Folks who have followed what's gone on in this county and in this town will remember that 12 Republicans in Ward 3, District 4 were totally disenfranchised in 2021 when their votes were lost. And you'll also remember that when I was a candidate for state senate in 2023, I was forced to vote provisionally then, even though I was at my proper polling place. And that vote, that provisional vote that they made me cast in 2023 was never counted. So if you're getting text messages from the New Jersey State Democrats telling you to vote at a particular location, you need to check the State Division of Elections.
That's how they do it, folks. Send out some phony text messages and get y'all confused. Here we have this in Coldwater, Kansas. Mayor charged with election fraud after it was revealed he allegedly voted multiple times despite not even being a U.S. citizen. Jose Ceballos won re-election and was charged the next morning.
Kobach claimed the mayor of Coldwater accused of election fraud. The charges come hours after he secured a second term in office. Attorney General Chris Kobach charged Mayor Jose Joe Ceballos with 6 felonies, 3 counts each of voting without being qualified and election perjury. Kobach claims Ceballos is lawfully living in the U.S. but is a citizen of Mexico, making him ineligible to vote. The AG alleges the mayor illegally cast ballots in the August 2024 primary and November 2022 and 2023 general elections.
In large part, our system right now is based on trust. Trust that when the person signed the registration or signs the poll books saying that he's a qualified elector or that he is a United States citizen, that the person is telling the truth.
We reached out to Mayor Ceballos for comment, but have not heard back yet. The Coldwater City Council, though, released a statement on social media saying the mayor called them in for a special meeting over the noon hour to, quote, discuss recent events that have transpired with the Kansas Attorney General's office. While the recent allegations involving the mayor are understandably concerning, we will allow the proper legal process to take its course before making any further.
Oh, man. Illegals running for mayor, voting multiple times. Oh, my goodness. Last night, California showed up. Katie Porter, remember her? The lunatic in California? Nothing is stronger than the power of democracy, not even a wannabe dictator. Last night, Californians showed we're ready to stand up to Donald Trump, and we aren't slowing down.
To see a very Prop 50 is really about empowering the American people who are really fed up with what Donald Trump has been doing. So Californians are seeing on the ground in their lives the effects of tariffs, the threats on healthcare premiums, what's happening in our colleges and universities. And this was their chance to push back on that. So
we see what's happening at the colleges and universities, honey. 22 hours ago, Andy leftist protesters marching in the communist organized Refuse Fascism direct action at the Capitol. Oh, yeah. That's a terrifying sight. Trump must go now. Shame. Yeah, good luck with that. Here we have from Lindell TV. What happened last night wasn't an election. It was a setup. Machines failing in red district, poll pads crashing, bomb threats shutting down precincts, voters blocked in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Ohio, all on cue. Then came the now familiar fraud curve. Let's listen.
That means that, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, folks. The elections that were held yesterday were illegal. The polls went down in Pennsylvania, the poll pads. The voting machines stopped working in Ohio. and in New Jersey in one county, and bomb threats were called into districts also in New Jersey. That means that Republican voters were blocked from voting. That means that Americans were disenfranchised, to use one of the Democrats' favorite words. Where are the federal officials? Why is America's entire election system allowed to continue as a fraud committed against the American people? And yes, we already know it's a fraud from many obvious reasons. You know this because Jason Miyares had a significant polling lead just 24 hours before the election yesterday, and it disappeared in a fraud curve that we're all familiar with because we saw it before in 2020. It was so bad even that mail-in ballot master Scott Presler had to warn everyone that the machines went down in red districts. Of course, they were red in the state of New Jersey. You know it's bad, folks, when even Scott Presler notices the fraud. Now, Milo pointed out on Twitter X that Scott Presler does not actually deliver victories, but mostly excuses. So true. There's no evidence that Presler or Turning Point Action really deliver GOP victories. Why? Well, because the push for early voting is just another scam. Early voting is part of the problem. You cannot early vote your way out of rigged elections. The people who told you that early voting worked were not election security experts. They were scammers who like to take selfies, and lots of them. And a lot of the money they made from gullible GOP donors was paid out to MAGA influencers to be their cheerleaders for their scam. Wow. While the neocons like Mark Levin and Josh Hammer and Ben Shapiro spent the last few weeks telling you that Tucker Carlson was the biggest problem in American politics, the GOP got wiped out in Virginia and Pennsylvania and New Jersey by the rigged voting machines. That's not an accident. That is by design. None of these people care about fair elections because none of these people care about America. We must have in-person voting on paper ballots conducted on one single day and hand counted. Everything else is a scam. And that's the absolute truth.
I'm with you. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. Now, this is not about being a sore loser. It's about protecting our republic. When machines fail only in red districts, when turnout spikes defy mathematics, when redistricting measures pass alongside suspicious flips, we have a duty to ask questions. The same people telling you to move on are the ones who spent years crying Russia. Now they want you to ignore actual irregularities happening on American soil. Where are the audit trails? Where are the chain of custody records? Why do these patterns keep repeating in the same places at the same times with the same results? So here is my question for the comment section. Do you believe these elections were completely clean? Yes or no? Your answer matters because if we can't trust the process, we've already lost the republic. Don't let them silence you. Stand up, speak out, and grab some gear from our shop. It's linked down below. Another stolen election. What the hell? Here we are, 2025, still talking about this stuff. Okay. For Ranger Xbox, let's see, we got this. R. Boyd. New name for New York fits. Welcome to New Yorkistan. Heather Reeve dropping $5. They have to cheat to win. That's what they do. For Ranger Xbox, illegal aliens are just doing the jobs Americans don't want to do, like be a Democrat mayor of your town. That's funny. We're at $39. Rolling into our next topic, so help us hit that goal. Who's going to be the next one? Who's going to put us over the top today? Who's going to get the gold star? Will it be you? The Supreme Court just heard the case that could hand President Trump the most powerful economic weapon in presidential history. Inside that chamber, justices grilled lawyers about constitutional trade powers while globalists held their breath. What happened during oral arguments sent shockwaves through Wall Street and panic through Beijing. Justice Barrett's pointed questions about regulating commerce through tariffs revealed where this court is heading. If they rule in Trump's way, and every signal says they will, he'll have the authority to rebuild American manufacturing with the stroke of a pen. No more waiting for Congress, no more begging bureaucrats, just raw presidential power to defend American workers. This changes everything, so watch closely. And as we wrap up 2025, it's time to reflect. Uncertainty isn't temporary anymore, it's our new reality. Waiting for normal isn't a plan, it's a gamble. For over a decade, Noble Gold Investments has helped Americans protect their families by diversifying with gold and silver. Real wealth isn't digital, it's physical, it's lasting, and it's yours. Nobody knows what 2026 will bring, but in uncertain times, precious metals provide stability. This holiday season, when you're surrounded by family, remember this. The best gift isn't under the tree, it's peace of mind. And Noble Gold delivers that peace 1 ounce at a time. So before year's end, take one smart step towards a safer future. Visit nextnewsgold.com for your free wealth protection kit. That's nextnewsgold.com. You'll find a link below. Don't leave your future to chance. And the number on the screen, 877-646-5347. Give them a call. Find out how you can get those 10 1-ounce silver holiday coins with qualified accounts. They will make beautiful stocking stuffers this Christmas. 6 hours ago, in the Oval Office, President Trump confirms that if the Supreme Court strikes down his tariffs, America will have to pay back trillions of dollars. Holy cow.
Before the Supreme Court issues a ruling, it could be several weeks. Are you going to lay out any new additional tariffs before?
I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to hope that we win. I can't imagine that anybody would do that kind of devastation to our country. You know, we'd have to pay back trillions of dollars. We've taken in trillions. We haven't taken in billions. We've taken in trillions of dollars. We've made trade deals based on that give us, as an example, European Union, $950 billion. Japan, $650 billion. South Korea, $350 billion. Without this, we're not talking about that kind of money. And they're okay. They're satisfied. They love us. I just left. They all love us. So it's not like we're such bad people. But they were doing it to us until I came along.
Trillions of dollars would have to be repaid. Taking in trillions of dollars. We'd have to pay that back. President Trump corrected long-standing trade imbalances and secured major trade deals by exercising the authority granted by Congress to impose tariffs. Exercising the authority granted by Congress seems pretty cut and dry. This is from the United States Trade Representative, and there's a clip here from Fox.
It is a factor when you're looking at the underlying policy. In that
Jameson Greer, U.S. Trade Representative.
The president has done with this statute is he's used it quite effectively to reset our trade relationships, bring reciprocity and balance, and strike trade deals that make a difference for American producers and workers. And undoing all of that, including the potential remittance of funds to people who deposited them, that's unwinding a huge thing. That's undoing some of the key and critical achievements of this administration. And so I think she was acknowledging the significance of that. It is a factor.
Can you imagine? But, I mean, it's all pointing towards the fact that the court is leaning in Trump's direction.
Would be devastating. Tariffs are so important. The decision in the Supreme Court would be devastating to our country if we got a negative, devastating if we got a negative decision. But this is a great day for American health and health care. And for all of American patients, these are things that are miracles to have this happen. And
devastating effects if the Supreme Court rules in the opposite direction. SCOTUS signals they might strike down. Here we have Mike Engelman, writes, unbelievable. SCOTUS signals they might strike down Trump's reciprocal tariffs, calling it a banana republic.
As it does when it uses
through those words. I think you're saying that, no, the president doesn't have inherent authority over tariffs in peacetime.
Absolutely. That is, we do not assert that. We say that Congress can delegate that to him, and when Congress does so, as it does when it uses the phrase regulate importation.
I follow all of that. Okay. You emphasize that Congress can always take back its powers. You mentioned that a couple of times. But don't we have a serious retrieval problem here? Because once Congress delegates by a bare majority and the president signs it, and of course every president will sign a law that gives him more authority, Congress can't take that back without a supermajority. And even then, it's going to be veto-proof. What president's ever going to give that power back? Pretty rare president. So how should that inform our view of delegations and major questions?
I would look at the balance that Congress struck, because what Congress did initially, it had a 2-house legislative veto.
And we struck that down.
And then Congress went back to the statute and amended it. It took out the legislative veto and left in the joint resolution, but still left the president with all those powers.
That's what Congress did?
Yes.
Fair enough. As a practical matter, in the real world, it can never get that power back.
I disagree, because in January 2023, Congress voted to terminate one of the biggest IEPA emergencies ever, the COVID emergency, and the president went along with that. So what the statute reflects is there's going to be the ability for a sort of political consensus against a declared emergency.
Well, what happens when the president simply vetoes legislation to try to take these powers back?
Well, he has the authority to veto legislation to terminate a national emergency, for example. I mean, he retains the powers in the background because IEPA is still on the books. But if he declares an emergency and Congress doesn't like it and passes a joint resolution, yes, he can absolutely veto that.
Yeah, Congress, as a practical matter, can't get this power back once it's handed it over to the president. It's a one-way ratchet toward the gradual but continual accretion of power in the executive branch and away from the people's elected representatives.
I disagree with that, and the recent historical counterexample of Congress's termination of the COVID emergency demonstrates that the political oversight
with the president's assent.
Meaningful.
Justice Neil Gorsuch really sounds like he's arguing that the president is getting unchecked authority because Congress delegates it. But if Congress delegates it, that's the whole point. They're delegating it to him to execute. Wow. Some really good arguments there from the other side. Who was that? That was Dr. John Sauer, U.S. Solicitor General. AG Pambani speaks on the SCOTUS hearing of the case. We also have this from the Justice Barrett. We'll get that out in a second.
He is more. Yes, and Lawrence, to answer your question, the president has the authority to do this under his executive authority. John Sauer is my Solicitor General. He is more than prepared. We feel very confident. And this is the most important case in front of the Supreme Court. John Sauer will do a great job. Not only is this about national security, but also our economic security around the world. President Trump just secured one of the greatest trade deals in the history of our country with Asia and other countries. And he has to be able to do that to protect America. And he firmly has the right to do that under the law. John Sauer is going to do a great job. The hearing starts.
And we just heard some of his remarks. Let's check in with Justice Barrett, who asked whether regulate implies the power to impose tariffs. Well, regulate means, I'm going to regulate them up, I'm going to regulate them down, right? So if the tariffs are there, he's going to regulate them up or down. U.S. Solicitor General Sauer responding. And then Justice Sotomayor interjects.
Putting aside just General Sauer, can I just ask you a question? Can you point to any other place in the code or any other time in history where that phrase, together, regulate importation, has been used to confer tariff-imposing authority?
Well, as to regulate importation, that was held in TWIA. So obviously, and that's...
Okay, so an intermediate appellate court held it in TWIA, but you just told Justice Kavanaugh that wasn't your lead argument, that your lead argument was this long history of the phrase regulate importation being understood to include tariff authority. So my question is, has there ever been another instance in which a statute has used that language to confer the power? Well, putting aside Yoshida.
I mean, obviously, other statutory example is just imports. The cases we rely on are cases where, for example, in Gibbons it's Ogden and Justice Story's
But that just shows the word can be used that way. None of those cases talked about it as conferring tariff authority. I understood you to be citing McGoldrick and Gibbons in those cases just to show that it's possible to say that regulating commerce includes the power to tariff.
I think our argument goes a bit further than that as an interpretive matter, because if you look at that history, the history of delegations...
Could you just answer the justice's question?
Can you identify any statute that used that phrase to confer tariffs?
Yeah, the only two statutes I can identify now are TWIA, as interpreted in Yoshida, and then closely related, not regulate importation, but adjust imports in Section 232.
Well, I think adjust imports is differently. So the answer is the contested application in TWIA, and then now in IEPA.
And then, of course, I mean, there's a sort of direct line there.
Yeah, I understand that, but
yes.
okay.
But then more fundamentally, we rely on the historical sources to show there's this long historical pedigree of broad delegations of the foreign commerce power, not the power to tax that we're not asserting here, delegations of the foreign commerce power to the president, going back to Gibbons against Ogden, all the way through McGoldrick and Board of Trustees, where this court and founding era sources say the power to, in other words, the power to tariff is kind of this natural, as everyone knows, that includes...
Just ask you one other question about the plain text, General Sauer. So you've referred to the other verbs in IEPA as capacious. Would you really describe them as capacious? Because to me, things like nullify and void have definite meanings. I agree with you that regulate is a broader term, but those words I think are powerful. They pack a punch, but I wouldn't describe them as capacious in the sense that they have a wide range of meanings. So can you describe what you mean by capacious?
Let me put it this way. You look at all 9 verbs together, and you're looking at a spectrum of powers from the most sort of negative, nullify, block, prohibit, void, to the most affirmative, direct, compel, and then also powers in between that are more intermediate, regulate, investigate, and so forth. So the natural common sense inference from that grammatical structure is the intention of Congress to sort of cover the waterfront.
Well, possible, General, possible, except Congress did take out a whole bunch of verbs. It took out confiscate, vest, hold, use, administer, liquidate, sell, which were in the prior statute. And crucially, what it doesn't have here is anything that refers to raising revenue. So
Sauer's on point, though. I gotta say, he knows what he's talking about. Let's see here. Let's check in with Mike Johnson.
In our sense. So I think the court has to give deference to that. I think the court has to recognize the executive is doing what they're doing. He's using tariffs to create leverage in our trade strategy, and it is yielding great results for the American people. And heaven forbid if it were reversed, because it would create chaos, which is one of the questions I think Justice Barrett asked, my old friend from Louisiana. I mean, that was an important question, because it would set back all of the strategy and the trade agreements and a lot of the things that have been accomplished for the people. So in some sense. So I think the court has to give deference to that. I think the court...
they're talking about Congress. There you have the Speaker of the House. President Trump makes remarks on how he got India and Pakistan to make peace with the use of tariffs.
I'm not going to make it. Planes were shut down, essentially. And I said, this is war. And they were going at it. And they're 2 nuclear nations. I said, I'm not going to make any trade deals with you guys unless you agree to peace. No way, this has nothing to do. I said, it has everything to do. Your nuclear powers. I'm not trading with you. We're not making any deals with you if you're at war with each other. A day later, I get a call. We've made peace. They stopped. I said, thank you, let's trade. Isn't that great? Tariffs did that. You know what? Tariffs. Without tariffs, that would have never happened.
Without tariffs, that would have never happened. Peace through strength. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is the constitutional showdown that determines America's economic future. If the Supreme Court affirms Trump's tariff authority, everything changes overnight. No more watching China dump steel while our plants close. No more begging Congress while jobs disappear overseas. Trump would have the power to act immediately, imposing reciprocal tariffs, protecting American workers, enforcing fair trade at the barrel of economic warfare. And Pam Bondi said it best. This is about national and economic security. The president has the authority, and now the court seems ready to confirm it. Now, my question is, for you guys, comments. Should Trump have unlimited tariff power to fight for American jobs? Yes or no? Because this ruling could restore American manufacturing or leave us at the mercy of global competitors forever. The choice is that simple. And show where you stand. Check out our merch shop, linked in the description. All right. What's up, Tyson and Bud? Gary Z's on Rumble. What's up, Rumble? Beverly G on Rumble. Good to see you. I always like to see when our Rumble folks check in. DB Bills. Great Grandma Diana. Good to see all y'all here. Yes, you guys say they're null and void scheme. He needs unlimited tariff power. Yeah, I can agree with that. Congress gave it to him. So that's the show. What we witnessed today wasn't just news. It was history unfolding in real time. 5 explosive stories, each one a battle in the war for America's soul. We started with the Shutdown Showdown, where federal workers are literally standing in food banks while Democrats play politics. After weeks of watching military families suffer, Schumer and Jeffries finally sent their demanding letter to Trump. But it's too late. The president is ready to go nuclear on the filibuster. And when he does, the days of Senate obstruction are over forever. The swamp's favorite weapon dies with one vote. Then we expose Zohran Mamdani, New York's new communist mayor, who couldn't even wait 24 hours before begging for some capitalist cash. His Transition 2025 website went live faster than his victory speech ended. Karen Myron jumping in, $10. Great job last 2 days, Gary. Thank you, Karen. Thank you so much for your $10. We're at $49 right now. Mamdani, the man who promises to empty prisons and ban private health care, can't fund his own transition without your credit card. Even President Trump noticed, warning that communism hasn't worked for 1,000 years. Well, spoiler alert, it's not working this time either. But Trump delivered a knockout blow to Big Pharma that nobody saw coming. In a deal so shocking, someone fainted in the Oval Office. He forced Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk to slash prices on Wegovy and Zepbound. We're talking $1,300 down to $250. Medicare copays as low as $50. Secretary Kennedy predicts Americans will lose 125 million pounds of fat by next year. That's not policy, that is revolution. Meanwhile, Tuesday's elections delivered a so-called blue wave that reeks of the same suspicious patterns we've seen before. Machines failing in red districts, poll pads crashing on cue, bomb threats shutting down Republican precincts. When margins defy every historical trend and redistricting measures pass alongside party flips, Americans deserve answers. Real elections don't need explaining. Fraudulent ones always do. And of course, the Supreme Court. They're about to hand Trump the ultimate economic weapon. The justices' questions during oral arguments signal that they're ready to affirm his tariff authority. No more waiting for Congress while China dumps steel. No more watching American jobs disappear while bureaucrats debate. Just presidential power to fight economic warfare and win. And secure peace. 5 stories, 1 message. The establishment's crumbling, and they know it. From shutdown politics to socialist, communist scams, from pharmaceutical surrenders to constitutional victories, we're watching the old order collapse in real time. So to everybody who sent in Super Chats and Rumble Rants tonight, thank you very much. Karen Faranger, Heather R. Boyd, Ruby Hoove, your support keeps independent journalism alive when mainstream media won't touch these truths. So keep telling your friends about the Raw Feed. Share the show with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want to wear your principles on your sleeve, always check out our merch shop. This is Gary Franchi reminding you that the truth doesn't need permission, and neither do we. We'll see you next time on the Raw Feed, so stay free, America.